In Chapter 14, Exercise 9, they give you the name of the compound and they would like you to draw it out. Now, in these, you want to start, as usual, with the backbone. And the backbone here is a little clearer because it's separated by a space in these molecules. So we know from the prefix, which is but, that we're going to have 4 carbons. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. And let me put the numbers here so I know I didn't make any mistakes. And then the infix is AN. That's telling me that I have all single bonds between the carbons that I've drawn. And finally, the suffix is O8. Now, O8 is the suffix for an ester. That means that at carbon 1, I'm going to have a double bond to an oxygen, single bonded to another oxygen. So that's my backbone, butanoate. Off of the oxygen is coming this other branch that is separated by the space from the backbone. And that branch has, because the prefix is prop, has 3 carbons. So here's 1 carbon, 2 carbons, 3 carbons. Let me number those just so it's really clear. 3 carbons there. Notice that this is not a carbon, that's a bond to the oxygen. The end of that connects to the oxygen, it's not a carbon. And so, altogether, this would be propyl butanoate. The left part of the molecule, this right here, is the propyl, and the right part of the molecule is the butanoate. And the functional group is this carbon double bonded to oxygen, single bonded to oxygen, the single bonded to carbon. That's the ester. So this molecule right here would be propyl butanoate. The butyrate here that they're giving you is a common name. So that's not an IUPAC name. Here, I'm going to go with the IUPAC name. That's butyl methanoate. Let's draw the backbone first. The backbone is what comes after that space with these esters. And so the prefix of the backbone is meth. That means that we're dealing with a carbon chain that has only 1 carbon. So let me do that. There it is, 1 carbon. Then the infix is AN. That's telling me that to that carbon there's no double bond to another carbon. And finally, the suffix is O8, and the O8 is telling me that I have an ester. Now, an ester is where the carbon is double bonded to oxygen, single bonded to another oxygen. If you want to be really clear, this other bond would be going to an H. So that's the methanoate. That's the backbone. Now let's think about the branch. In the case of esters, this part that's separated from the backbone with a space is a branch coming off of the oxygen that has single bonds. So here, I'm going to have a butyl branch coming off of that oxygen. The prefix but is telling me that I'm going to have 4 carbons in that branch. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me number those just so it's really clear. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice again, this is not a carbon. That is a bond to the oxygen. And so that's a butyl branch. This altogether is butyl methanoate. Butyl is this part on the right, and the methanoate is this part on the left in this drawing. And this whole molecule is butyl methanoate. How about ethyl pentanoate? So here again, let's start with the backbone. The backbone in the case of esters, which end in O8, is the name after the space. The prefix is pent. And that means that we're dealing with 5 carbons. So let me draw those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me number them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This way I know I didn't make any mistakes. Now, the infix is AN, and that means that between those carbons there are only going to be single bonds. And the suffix is O8. O8 is telling me that I have an ester. Now an ester is a double bond to oxygen, and then a single bond to another oxygen. And that is the pentanoate backbone. We also have a branch. Here the branch is ethyl. Now, in the case of esters, the branch that's separated by that space is coming off of the oxygen with the single bond. And so here, that ethyl branch is going to be coming off of the oxygen with a single bond. Because the prefix is eth, we know we're going to have 2 carbons. So that's 1, 2. Let me number those so it's really clear. 1, 2. And the YL is just telling us that we have a branch. So this is ethyl pentanoate. Ethyl is the part on the right there. Pentanoate is the part on the left. So ethyl pentanoate would be this molecule.